Pokemon!
Hello, I am Drag, and in this video I will be going over a Gijinka that I recently drew. So, for anyone who doesn't know, a Gijinka is a humanized version of anything that is not human. That is the simplest way that I can put it. It's just a human version of something that is not human. So, in this instance, this would be a Pokejinka, or a Pokemon Gijinka, of a Pokemon that you are supposed to guess. And just like, put it in the comments of whatever Pokemon you think that might be. So here are the hints of what said Pokejinka, like to help you figure it out. Here are some hints. It is not a fairy type, it is not a grass type, it is not a water type, and it is not from gens 1 to 3. So this Pokemon did not exist in those gens, or it wasn't introduced in those gens. And it has a very heavy entertainment theme. I don't know if you can tell that from what is going on. So yeah. I guess I should go into some of the design choices. A lot of the design choices were, well, I mean, they were basically just taken, like, from the Pokemon in my weird, costumey way. A lot of the time, whenever I see Gijinkas, what people will do is, they'll just, like, kind of make them vaguely human. Like, they'll just, like, put them on their hind legs, and then they'll just, call it a Gijinka. But a Gijinka is actually taking, like, non-human thing and, like, turning it into a human. Like, you are personifying it. Like, you are literally turning it into a human being. I cannot stress that enough. I don't know the history of Gijinkas. Don't ask me to explain that. I'm not going to, because I don't know. I don't want to. I guess I will explain how he came to be and how he's going to affect my Pokemon story. So I have actually not had this Pokemon, but the reason why I made a Gijinka of it was because I was feeling super cartoony that day, and I wanted to make it, so I decided to make a Gijinka of it. And then, like, a day later, I decided to outline it because I was very busy that day, or maybe I just didn't want to finish it. It was one of the two. Anyway, so I made this guy because we were talking about I was talking about a Pokemon, this particular Pokemon, with one of my friends over on Instagram, and the Pokemon's like inspiration, and he didn't believe me, so I linked him to this video that like kind of solidified it, and he was like, all right. And then after I finished this sketch, I sent it to him, and he was like, oh yeah, it's that Pokemon. And then okay, so I always like to have fun with these Gijinkas. I don't really like for them to be like too on the nose. I like to make them a character first, which can get really tedious sorry. Okay. So what I'd like to do is I like to like sketch these things out, and then like I'll put them I'll send them to some of my art friends on Discord, and I was like, oh, who's that Pokemon? And then one of them she really knows her Pokemon, and she just like, oh, it's that Pokemon, like in an instant. She does it so fast. I'm like, how she does it so fast, and I was like, oh. And this one stumped her at first, but I'm pretty sure that like once I colored it, she was like, oh yeah, that one. It's definitely that one. So that's how that's actually a part of the fun of making these Gijinkas is having people guess what Pokemon they might be. It's really fun, but it really only works in the sketch phase because they don't have any colors. Because like, I mean, Pokemon that like at its core is like a business, and they need their characters to be identifiable, like based on their colors. That's why Pikachu is the mascot. Well, it's one of the reasons why Pikachu is the mascot. Fun fact: Pikachu is the mascot. Originally, Clefairy was going to be the mascot, but they found out that Pikachu actually tested like better with like boys, but like it still appealed to girls. So like it appealed to both. Pikachu appeals to both boys and girls. That's why Pikachu's the mascot. Fun, fun Pokemon history fact. So, oh crap, what was I talking about? I want to ramble. Oh yeah, Pokemon are incredibly identifiable by their colors. So I had to. I have a lot of fun, like just like asking them what these Pokemon are like before they're colored, and then like they're not allowed to guess. They're not allowed to guess after that because they already know what the Pokemon is. So like when it's finished and like I post it, like oh who's that Pokemon? They're like oh yeah it's that one. So they normally like give me a nice troll answer like it's Pikachu, uh, and I love them for that. So let me let me go into the I don't know how to say it, so I'm just gonna like go on. So this character does show up in my Pokemon story, well, my Pokejinka story. I guess I'll call it a Pokejinka story. He comes in later on in the story, and he is actually a Fey species that is similar, but not quite the same as my Mr. Mime species. Oh yeah, my Mr. Mime. Like a lot of people don't know how to pronounce. A lot of people do not know how to pronounce his name. It's pronounced Yu Zengxiu, or you could just call him Ulrich. He goes by that in the story sometimes. More often than not, it's Yu Zengxiu or Zengxiu, but he goes by Ulrich sometimes too. The reason why he goes by Yu Zengxiu is because he is a Fey species. So like they don't necessarily have human names, and when I made him I liked the sound of Yu Zengxiu, and I still do. So this guy that I'm drawing right now, he does not have a name. Feel free to drop some suggestions in the comments, as well as what Pokemon you think this is, or just wait till the end when I announce it. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. We'll have to see. I honestly have no idea as of recording this. So we'll just see. Anyway, his Fey species, the guy who I'm drawing right now, his Fey species, they specialize in explosions. So I don't know how to say it. They make things explode to a degree, so he can like make that little spark that he's got, and just like send it up in the air, and it explodes into an explosion of beautiful colors. But he cannot cast spells or charms like Mr. like Yuzengsu, like his entire species, like they cannot cast charms or spells because they are not like privy. No, privy isn't the word. They do not have the aptitude for that kind of magic, and since they are in that universe effectively animals, they're actually even though they're all half human, like they're halflings, quote unquote. Halflings in the sense that they are half human, half fairy. So even though they are like human, they're like still seen as animals because of that fey side, and how people actually distinguish them, or like regular people anyway. They would all the fairies in that story have a fairy aura about them. Like they all have like a fairy aura. So like a human being would not know what they're like feeling or why they're feeling it, but they would just feel like, oh, they're not human. They would just like look at them and like they're not human, and they wouldn't really know how to explain why that is, but it's because of the fairy aura. Like so, that's just a little bit of lore. Where was it? Oh, okay. Um, so they do not have the ability to cast spells, hexes, charms, whatever, but they do have the ability to like use their own magic to spark things, but they cannot actually build fires. As in, like, they can't be like, oh, set you on fire. Like, they actually have to, like, indirectly set something on fire, like, with one of their explosions. Which is, I think that's interesting. They also are pranksters because, of course, they are fairies, pranksters and whatnot. So they will play pranks, and that actually might be why people despise them to a degree, because they play pranks. I don't think that this particular fey species will be burned by metals. Like, I mean, like, there's obviously the iron one, like, they're all burned by iron, but I think that this guy's particular, I think I'm gonna call them combustion fairies. But as far as like that species goes, I think that they will be able to touch other metals except iron, because like iron, it it's the fairy repellent. So all of them, as far as he's concerned, he can touch metal. And he also has an ability that I thought was like really interesting. I actually came across it in one of my RPs, role plays, which is he's multilingual, like multilinguist, whatever. I don't, still trying to figure out the word. But what what that does is that he can speak any language, or his species, they can speak any language as long as they are making eye contact with like the person that is speaking that language. So if he's a like he could like literally just like change languages like mid sentence, like from talking to two different people. I thought that was a really really interesting ability that I actually came across in one of my RPs. It was the creatures that had it in this particular RP were kappas. Yes, kappas. Ironically enough, like kappas. They were um it was a let's see, yeah, it was a Mr. Yuzangsu. He was in that RP, and we ran into this kappa in a swamp actually, and this kappa just like was just like staring the characters like dead in the eyes, and my RP partner was like, what's up with that kappa? It's like creeping me out, like how intense it's staring into my character's eyes. I'm like, that's how it's talking. He was like, oh, okay. It's very interesting. It can literally speak, like it will literally change its cadence like in the middle of like speaking, and just like it was very interesting. I thought it was a very unique ability that I came across. So he won't have that ability, which I think it will separate them as far as that goes. It's like it's just really really interesting to think about, What else about the combustion fairies? I think that's all I have in my notes right now. I'm still trying to figure them out. So these things come with time. So can't rush my world building. In the story, he actually does want to appear as not as a relative, but Yuzengsu does acknowledge him as family, as I don't. He's French, by the way. Like this guy I'm drawing, he's French. But how do you say? He acknowledged him as I don't have the word, but family kind of. But they are not related. They were I don't know how to say it. Oof. Not. Oh my god, this is gonna bug me. I'll figure it out. But he acknowledged them. Kin, that's it. He acknowledged them as kin. But they weren't related. Like, he just acknowledged that that his face species, the guy who I'm drawing, who doesn't have a name yet, drop those suggestions at the in the comments. That his face species was actually like very closely similar to his, and he does join the team for a little while, but I don't know if he actually like becomes a permanent party member. It's all in the works, but those will come. Those will come with time. Like they always do. So, were you able to figure out which Pokemon this was before it was finished? And like, if you cut to the end, that's cheating. But were you able to figure out what Pokemon this was? If you were, just tell me in a comment section. And I did have a lot of fun with this video, so I think I will be doing more in the future when I get the chance. Because, I mean, like, drawing these Gijinkas are hella fun. Ugh, I can't believe I just said that. They are very fun. So, yeah. Thank you for watching and hopefully listening to me ramble on about this Gijinka. And I think I will see you next time. Bye!
It's the Cephalon!